Hi, it's Cheryl with Caribou Country Lifestyle. Today I'm downstairs and I'm getting a lot of my things ready for my 2024 growing season. I'm going to be plotting out what my garden beds are going to be looking like for this growing season. And I just wanted to show you how I was going to be doing that and how I set everything up as well, and where I'm going to be, what my thoughts are. So first I'm going to show you what I do to get my diagram set up. I was trying to get it so I had some good light. Over here, it seemed like when I had the camera over there, I was not having very good light for using this window. So I ended up having to put my camera over on that side. It's all about the lighting, and when I'm down here in the basement, it's a little harder to have that good lighting in the basement. So here what I'm doing is I'm putting my graph paper that I use for setting up my all my raised beds, and I put a blank piece of paper over last year's setup, and then I go over it lightly with pencil. So this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to go over it lightly with pencil, and I'm going to also use my ruler so that my lines are fairly straight. So I'm just going to go across here. And this is my fence line that I have my beds. My raised beds have the fence line around it. And I'm also including my garden shed as well. I'm including where my gate goes and how far this fence line goes around the whole garden. So I get all of that done. That's my fence line. Now I'm just going over where my raised beds are. Might as well go down all my lines, and then I'm going to go across. There's my garden shed. I'm putting in the horseshoe bed. It's has 3 sides on it, but it's one continuous bed. And now I'm going to put in my raised beds in the back, outline them with my ruler. And I like to use pencil because then I can erase anything that I might have made a mistake with. So there are all my raised beds, and these are all 4x8 raised beds. And I'm just going across the tops of each of them. And then I'm going to go down on the bottom and outline all the bottoms. And then these beds go in the opposite direction of those first 5. And along the bottom. And then I'll do these ones as well. So I have 9 4x8 beds. And then I have my big horseshoe bed at the back, and that goes in here. So I'll just get this last bed, and then I take my ruler. So my first year, it took me a little bit to get this all drawn out, But now all I have to do is trace over it because these beds will never change. So then I'm going to get one of my geometry sets, or maybe I'll just find some circular shape and trace around it for the center here, because now I have that center garden bed that Jamie just built me in the middle, and he built that with the kind of circular paving stones that he had an excess from when he used to do landscaping. So I'll bring this back down to the table and I'll show you what it looks like. So hopefully you can see this. I have it so that it's facing towards you. So this is my gate here where we enter in. Over here's the garden shed, my first front bed's there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little label roll and I will get my pencil and I'm just going to line it up so that it's pretty much right in the center. And then I'm just going to do a little trace around here. Remove that, and there we have that circular bed in the middle of it. And then what I'm going to do is I will add in my panels that I have going in the middle of this bed, my cattle panel in the middle of that bed. On these beds, I have a cattle panel that goes over top of these two. This one here in the middle will just have a straight upright panel, and then over on these two I'm going to have another cattle panel that's going to go over both of the beds, so it kind of looks like an arbor going over the beds. These two over here, these short ones, will just have a straight panel going across this way and again across that way. And that's just so I can have things like my tomatoes that I can tie to my panel, and then we'll put something in front of the tomatoes on this side and have that set up too. Over here I have a panel on the back on this side, and I have a panel over on this side as well, and I plant climbers that go up those panels also. And then my garden shed. So there's the door of my garden shed. There's that door there, and then this is the gate here that opens up to go in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start drawing in those arbor panels that I was telling you about. I'll draw those in. Once I get those drawn in, then I'll start going through my previous plan. This one here, my previous plan, this was for 2023. And I'll go through that and I will decide, okay, what did really good in this bed? What do I want to change to do something different? I'm also going to be going through my book that I keep track of everything, all the seeds that I start. So last year I started seeds February 25th. And the seeds that I started was just my geraniums and my begonias. I won't be starting any geraniums as far as starting any geranium seeds. I have overwintered my geraniums from last year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be preparing those geraniums and getting them ready to cut them into sections. I'll be dipping that cut section into rooting hormone and starting new geranium plants from those, and I will bring you along when I do that. My next date for starting seeds after that was not until March the 5th. And I started all of my snapdragons, my verbena, celery, eggplant, rosemary, basically all of my herbs I started then. And I also started all of my peppers too. So I won't be starting anything till towards the end of the month. And the only thing I will be starting is probably my herbs. I also have my calendar, and what I've done with my calendar is I've started writing in some of the seeds that I will be starting. And what I've done is I've figured out when is our last frost date. So their projected last frost date for this area is May the 21st, which was right around the May long weekend. And what I've done is I've counted from the May 21st, I've counted back to 12 weeks, because that's usually about the time, my 12-week time is when I start doing some of my seeds. And I have all of my seeds organized. I have all my seeds in these photo boxes, and I've labeled them all. So this is 12-week seeds. In my 12-week seeds, I have all my herbs and vegetables put in that one. In the next 12 weeks, these are all the flowers that I would start at 12 weeks. Then I go to 10 weeks, and that's all my peppers that I would start. The next 10 weeks is any herbs and vegetables I would start, and the last 10 weeks is any flowers that I would start. And then it goes from there. I have 3 packs that are labeled 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 4 weeks, and then I start labeling the ones that are going just straight outside. Those are the ones that I'll be just planting the seeds right outside. I won't be starting them in the house. So this is how I like to organize my seeds, and I make sure that I have everything, like when I showed you, these are, wrong one. These are just all peppers. I have quite a few varieties of peppers that I like to do. And then this one is my 8 weeks. This is all tomatoes. So I do a lot of varieties of tomatoes in my garden. And then my other 8 week, this is just all flowers. And this is all herbs and vegetables for my 8 weeks. So this is how I like to organize my seeds. And plus, it keeps them in a cool, dry place with no moisture. So once I've figured out everything that I want to be starting, I'm starting to write that in my calendar. So here I have here February the 24th, I'm going to be starting herbs, and I have some Asiatic lily seeds that my sister gave to me when she was here at Christmas. She gave me some of those seeds, and that's right around the 12-week mark. Well, there were other seeds that I had in my photo container that I would be starting at the 12-week mark as well. So I'm going to add those seeds onto my calendar that I will be starting as well. And then as we go down into 11 weeks, and then 10 weeks, 9 weeks, 8 weeks, and so on. And then I'll have everything planned out on my calendar too. That will keep me organized as well. And then I've also got my West Coast Seed Gardening Guide to refer to as far as some of the vegetables that I'm going to be starting. Then I also have my Vessie's Vegetable Seed Guide as well. So I have my pad of paper for any notes that I need to take down too, because sometimes when you are starting seeds, you're gonna notice that they, on the seeds or in your guide, it will tell you whether you want to cover the seeds or not. Some seeds you're not going to be covering. You'll plant them in the dirt. You're not going to cover them with any soil because they need that light for them to germinate and get started. Some seeds you are going to plant them in their cells, and that's going to say you want to have them in total darkness. That's another option that seeds require. Another is they're going to tell you to put them in your fridge or your freezer before you plant them. And some you put them only in for maybe a day. Some say 5 days. So you really want to take a look, and looking at the back of your seed packets, what it says on the information there. Maybe you might have a guide. The Vessies, I really like their planting guide that they offer. And all I did was go onto the Vessies website and I just downloaded the planting guide and I printed it off. And that's a lot of how I get my information for any of the different seeds that I'm going to be starting. I also use heat mats, which I just ordered 2 more heat mats. I already have 2 heat mats, but some seeds need that bottom heat, like your peppers and your eggplant as well. They like that bottom heat. There are flower seeds that like the bottom heat too. So I just like to make sure that I'm prepared. So I already have 2 heat mats, and I've ordered 2 more heat mats from Princess Auto. They had a good deal on heat mats. They were $20 a piece. If I was to order these, I would order them out of a seed catalog, and last year I ordered them out of T&T because they were the cheapest, and now they're $25 for heat mat. I've seen some that are $40. I've seen them at $50. So I really like to compare prices and check out to see where I could get the best price. So this year I found them on the Princess Auto site, and they had them for $20 a piece. And then of course I had to pay shipping and handling, but even if I would have ordered them through T&T, I would still have had to pay the shipping and handling, because with them it was you needed a $100 order and you got 10% off. Well, that barely covers the shipping and handling. So I just ordered them through Princess Auto and it'll be shipped to me in the mail, and I paid the shipping and handling on that, and I didn't have to spend $100, and I would have had to pay the shipping handling on T&T as well. So it's kind of a balance of what you're willing to pay and what you're not willing to pay. I am going to be getting my Lindenberg seed order put together. With them, if you have an $85 order, you don't pay shipping and handling on with their seed orders. So that is, to me, that's worth it to spend the $85. I usually have no problem spending $85 on seeds. I don't need a whole lot this year because I have purchased seeds kind of locally. When I've been in Kamloops or when I've been in Prince George, I will look and see, especially at places like Art Nap. I really like to go there and check out their seed collection. And our local feed store carries West Coast seeds as well, and I will go down there. So if I want anything that with West Coast seeds, they carry a lot of specialized vegetable and flower seeds that you a lot of times won't find in some of the Lindenbergs and the T&Ts. I don't really order a lot with Vessies, unfortunately. I find that their seeds are a little bit more expensive. So I do like West Coast seeds. They can tend to be on the more expensive side sometimes. And Lindenberg, I find, are the cheapest, but they don't always have the selection. There are things like my Amish paste tomatoes, my Oxheart tomatoes, and Sun Gold that I got. Those, I guess they would class those to be more of a specialized vegetable seed to find, and I find that West Coast Seeds carries a lot of the seeds that I'm looking for, and I will just shop locally for those. So I just wanted to show you how I organize and plot out my gardens with this chart that I have just drawn up. I'm also going to include, because I also have two 33-foot by 3-foot no dig raised beds, and I'm going to include those on this chart too, and I'm just going to put them on the bottom. I'll put one here, the other one over here, and then I'm going to have a third one going up along this side, and that third one we will be putting that in this spring. We'll be installing that third bed. It may not be 33 feet long, so I'm going to be including those beds on my chart as well, and then I will bring you back when I get this all plotted out and mapped, and I'll bring you back then. So thanks for joining me for this short little video, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.